Well, I looked at a trailer yesterday just thinking about, to try and remember some of this stuff, and the trailer is so horrible.
Meet Scotty Palmer. He's having what you would call a bad day.
That's it, pal, you're fired.
It's just absolutely embarrassing, It's just tits popping out of whatever. I mean, now in films today, nudity is not even a big deal. Do you know what I mean? Then it seemed forced just because because that was a requirement for them to get the money, probably for overseas sales, things like that. I mean, that's just what was selling at that point. I was it was a Motion Picture Corporation of America, and they were doing a bunch of lower budget films at the time, and then they ended up doing Dumb and Dumber and some bigger things after that. And then I think it was one of the producers, Brad Jankel, contacted me to see if I'd be interested, gave me the script, which Scott and Bill Binley wrote, and we kind of looked it over and went through that, and then they said they wanted me to direct it, so I was pretty happy. I mean, I was pretty young. It was everything that I knew about because I grew up down in Southern California, sort of on the beach. So I kind of know the whole, sort of the beach vibe and everything. So, and I also went to Cal Arts Film School. So this was a few years after that. And then, so Brad Jankel, I guess, found me, and then we talked, and then we worked on the script. And then we were sort of developing, I guess they had pre-sold it sort of, with the TNA version. But we always thought, and then the producers thought afterwards, that it was much better just as a romantic comedy, without the other stuff. So I guess they eventually released both versions. I guess they called one a TV version and the other one theatrical or whatever. I mean, I didn't have any problem with the TNA thing because I shot for Playboy for many years. But in this instance, I mean, I'm a kind of a fan of the rom-com. Back then it was pretty normal to have, TNA as part of any of these sort of early 90s films. I mean, Dean Cameron, the lead, was in, a couple other films, Summer School at that time, and Ski School. Yeah, so that was sort of a whole genre of films back then. But that's sort of how I got started. That I shot at a museum in downtown Los Angeles, where it had that huge domed building. I mean, it was a pretty amazing place. I remember really wanting that to, where is this Fantasyland place going to be? So I thought that I think it's a natural history museum, perhaps. It was like a wing of it that wasn't, there was a foyer or something. And then we did it there. I mean, it was a pretty low budget, so some of the costumes were pretty goofy, but still, pretty happy with the cast overall. I mean, it was a pretty awesome cast for the time. All those actors were pretty well known at the time, and then so anyway, that's sort of how it started out for me.
You're the man. What do you think I need?
I think they paid up for him at the time because this was, I guess, after Karate Kid, I think it was. And he was just a total pro. He had his own little trailer. He was sort of a star amongst the others because, he had everything going at that time.
The only thing you really need is a good blanket. All I need is a good blanket.
And he was just, he'd just come out of his trailer and, come out and suggest some stuff and just nail it, I mean, we had to do very few takes with him. He was a super nice guy. If an actor comes prepared, and all of these did, to the set, they know their lines, and then they take direction, you know, and we're in sort of a fun, playful script situation scenario. It was pretty good. So Pat was great.
You don't understand. You can have whatever you want. A house, a car, anything.
You don't understand.
Well, what do you want?
I want to work.
Spurback,
Yes. What do you want, Bozo?
I finished that idea I was looking at.
The Italian boxer gets
Yeah.
sent back to the past to murder the future resistance.
Yeah, yeah,
Boy,
that's-
I hate it. It is stupid. You're stupid.
Martin Mull, I remember he was like, I was, setting up the scene and everything. I think it was one of my first days shooting. And I don't know what he said to me, something to the fact of, you going to give me any direction? I'm like, oh yeah, I was just kind of setting up the shot first.
Well, I was talking to Mr. Benjamin about his idea, and...
The one about the Italian boxer?
Yeah, that's it.
I love it.
Oh, yeah, me too. Our idea is brilliant. I liked it from the very first. Here, have some money. I'm going to give you this, a gas card. You can fill your tank up. Here you go. Price Club. You've heard of that? Knock yourself out. Okay.
I liked, working with Vincent Schiavelli.
Hi, remember me from the other day? I asked you about genies?
Yes.
Yeah, well,
I mean, he was actually quite a lot like he acted, in the film in person. He sort of had that vibe to him. Super tall, super sort of strange, in a good way.
Now get out of here, Skippy.
Scotty, like today, okay?
Hey, off the court, dude.
Master, I was trying to tell you I couldn't grant that wish.
Why? It's in the middle of a game, butthead.
Yeah, I think one of my producers, Brad Jenkel, brought him to me, and I don't know what he had done. I think he was in SC at the time and just kind of started out. I don't know what he'd done before, but he was a super nice guy and great looking. I mean, perfect for the kind of the volleyball guy, and Dana's boyfriend. So he was great. Super nice guy.
$100 says I can kick your little butt in a game of 2-on-2.
Right. You and who else?
I don't care, you pick them.
Okay. Okay, you and the guy eating the hot dog over there.
I got to say he was incredibly nice to me. I had no idea who he was at the moment. I had no idea that he was a Princeton graduate, drafted in the NFL. His dad was a big-time director, or his stepdad, or his dad was a big-time director. So of course I was acting and I didn't know he had just booked, Lois and Clark. So I was probably bragging, and he did not brag at all. He was very humble. It was just, they just say some stuff. And I don't even remember what I said because it wasn't scripted. Does that make sense? So, it's funny, I remember a lot of lines from all my other movies because they were actually scripted. So I had to actually learn them. This was all off the cuff, and I think I said something about like a good old hot dog. I've only seen the movie maybe once in my entire life.
Here, have an ice cold Coke. Wash that good old-fashioned hot dog down. Matter of fact, that looks pretty good. I'm gonna have one myself, see? I don't sell products I don't endorse. You know that's just not American.
He was super funny and super fun, and that volleyball scene is like pretty fun and crazy and super fun to shoot. I just wanted to make that super goofy and fun, and he was like the perfect guy for it, for sure. I mean, he was flying through the air eating a hot dog in one of the shots. So that was super fun. But yeah, he was a really cool guy, actually.
It was like a bit more of an offer, I just went, they called me up. I met him actually they were filming, I think one of the interiors, and I met the producer and the director, the writer. They were all there, and they said, "Do you want to do this?" And I believe the day that I went in to meet them, I want to say the art one of the art Dan and Alexis, and then he at that time, because then but he was definitely identifying as he at that time, was actually on the set when I remember meeting him. But yeah, they offered me the part. They told me they wanted me to improvise something up at the top, and that was basically it. It was real simple. Boom, 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 boom. And also Amy Dolenz.
Amy was, I'm trying to remember who we had looked at. I think we'd looked at Kylie Minogue at some point. I think pretty much when Amy walked in, I was like, okay, she's perfect, perfect. And I don't know how much she had done at the time, but she'd done some stuff for sure. Tony Danza film that was, She's Out of Control, I think she did maybe, and that's what it was. Can't Buy Me Love, yeah.
Now, if I could just find some girl that wouldn't mind standing in as my girlfriend. You?
Why not?
I mean, I looked back at a couple of scenes last night because I haven't watched it in a while. And, I think it was a scene under the pier where she's with Scotty and her looking, and you first see her in a bathing suit. And so, I mean, she really, still holds up pretty well. I mean, her acting, I thought it was, I thought she did a good job. I mean, she was just all pretty natural and not a problem and a sweetheart, obviously.
I want you throwing bows and then driving strong to the hole. Got it?
Got it!
Well, then go get 'em!
McHale drives the baseline, puts up a jump cut, rejected by Charles Smith. Out to Ken Norman, who pushes it forward to Gary Grant from out of nowhere. Slam dunk, Gary Grant. Oh my, timeout Celtics.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know he was transgender or whatever at the time, and I don't know if he was, or, I mean, I'm sure it was somewhere in there, but he was a super great guy, funny, very on top of it, really quite a good actor, and even though it was sort of a comedy thing, but I do remember him, as really nailing it. And, totally believable as sort of a surfer dude, Scotty's friend. So I was super happy with him. Sorry to see that he passed, I guess, last year or something. But he was a talented guy.
Dude, wait, what am I thinking? Why don't I just have Afterbirth playing live in my room all the time? Afterbirth, Kings of Rock!
I was a huge Summer School fan. That's one of my favorite, favorite movies of high school movies. And I love Dean Cameron, one of the nicest human beings you'll ever fucking meet. We actually became closer post Miracle Beach because he was carrying the whole movie, had a lot on his plate. So when I would run into him around town, we would always talk, and he's just a class act, a class fucking act.
Weird.
Okay.
Weird.
Maybe this is a sleeper pick, but a movie that I fell in love with years ago on cable TV, and I just rewatched it last weekend to prepare for this talk. Miracle Beach, 1992.
Well, I call it Miserable Beach.
No, don't ruin it for me.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Have you ever heard of a band called King's X?
No.
No. It's a great band from the 80s. They're worth checking out.
Okay.
But I became friends with the guitar player and we were talking once, and he said, "Hey, it looks like I was watching Miracle Beach, and it looked like you gave up about halfway through." And I said, "Yes, that's exactly what happened."
I was insulated from what the producers told him or were talking to him about. You know what I mean? For me, he was absolutely great, absolutely perfect. I've heard some of the same things, and but for me, I couldn't say anything negative about him. He was awesome, and maybe he thought it was something else, but I mean, he had to have seen what we were shooting, you know.
While I was doing that movie, I realized that it was over. That my days as a viable competitor in Hollywood, I was done.
Why?
And this was going to be the nail in the coffin. It just the script that I read and the script we were shooting were two very different things, and I was just miserable and sad, and I don't like how I look in the movie, and it was just a bad time.
Well, also, I don't see how one film can, ruin your entire career. I mean, look at some horrible films that people have done that are still working a lot. I mean, this is,
But I mean, you still worked a ton after that movie. But was that, or are you saying, was that one of the last where you were kind of attached to Carriot?
I did one other movie. Yeah, I mean, I did Ski School 2, and then that was it for quite a while. Yeah.
I'm sure there's some Ski School 2 fans that are going to hear this, so we'll go ahead and ask about that. How was that one?
Loved it. Had a great time.
Yeah.
Made a lot of money. Paid my rent for a year, and then that was it. It was all done.
I'm super positive about most things, so I'm sorry that he feels that way. But to me, I didn't see anything, and I would just say he was a great guy, and I think he still is. And when I see him on shows and things, I think he's a great actor. So,
I'm gonna get myself hard, and I will show you what I mean. Hold on.
Oh.
Ah, you bastard! You know what? If you guys are already hard, just go ahead of me, and I'll just circle back.
I don't know anyone in the business that has worked with him that has had a bad thing to say about him. You know what I'm saying? He seems like a as far as I know, a constant pro. He really is a really charismatic, really good actor. I mean, he made, honestly, like that, and is it Ski School? He made those movies watchable. Does that make, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's a really talented dude. And normally I would run into him like at St. Jerry's Deli, or I'd run into him at a coffee shop just randomly, and he always made a point to say hi to me.
I mean, when I look at online and I look back at stuff, it seems, seems people liked it for the time for what it was, sort of fun fantasy with nudity. Yeah, you read a lot of the reviews on it, and it was a lot of the kids' favorite, not kids, but younger guys' favorite films at the time. And I remember even I was in Vegas with Dean Cameron at one point, and some guy came up to him and said, "Hey, I see your film." This is when it was playing exclusively on, I think, Showtime or HBO.
You realize that if you say what you have to say to a genie, they immediately lose all their power and become as normal as you or I.
They do?
Yes. And you lose everything that was granted to you or anyone else since you found her.
I do?
Scotto! The club! The women! My sex life! Oh!
Actually, it was on HBO for I don't know, for quite a few months. It did very well there. I guess a big push for it at that time. But you don't really know who's watching it until, especially then, there wasn't the internet, there wasn't anything. So, I mean, I'd always gotten pretty positive vibe from it, just as a fun sort of, playful rom-com with some nudity.
Oh, guys, this is Gus. Now, if you need anything, Gus here, he's your man. Jeannie, would you show Gus to his room?
Thank you.
My man stinks. You ought to wish that guy in the shower, dude.
Yeah, and it is what it is. Well done. I think we spent $1 million on it. I think that was the budget, something like that. And that's when, $1 million didn't go as far as it goes today, because now you have got cheaper cameras. You don't have to shoot film. You need less lighting. I mean, now it's just a whole different thing. So, I might do another feature. I have, I've been looking at a couple of things. If it's right, I definitely do it. But as a director, there's so many things you can do. It's not just the films. Well, plus it doesn't, I could direct a film today that's totally serious and whatever. People don't care, I've been directing ever since, and I still am today. Commercials, as I said, I shot for Playboy for quite a few years, directing some of their videos, did very well with their home videos. And photography, I'm also a photographer and fashion photographer. I remember talking to Spielberg and Lucas when I was just out of film school, and I went up to him, saw him at a restaurant or something, and I said, what should you do to become a director? And they said, shoot as much as you can. Just shoot things, So I've always just kind of enjoyed going to work and directing, whether it be a feature or a commercial or video or whatever. To me, it's super fun to create something and then do it. You can't get too hung up on things defining you, because no one really cares anymore.
Jeannie, I love you.
What did you say?
I said, Jeannie, I love you.
I love you too, Scotty.
Strictly dub. The drums and the bass. You see, well, sometimes you get tired of the scenery. Yeah, you wanna make an escape, you wanna get away. It hits you like music. And then nothing that your friends can say. Kim Crow, how far have we come? You wanna know? Just turn on the radio. A musical apartheid, a separate skin. Just a symptom of the trouble we're in. We say, Kim Crow, how far have we come? You wanna know?